Are you a manager or a senior manager in a large corporate? You're stuck in layers of management levels. There are endless meetings. There's bureaucracy everywhere you turn with the processes that you have to do. You've done a good job as a manager. Perhaps you've hired good people. You've delegated effectively to them. And now you've empowered them to do a good job. But what that's left you feeling is effectively stuck. You're stuck in a traditional management role and you're just another manager in a sea of middle managers. Well, this is the time for you to shake things up to accelerate your career and move from this traditional management mode into founder mode. Founder mode isn't a mindset that is just for founders. It's for anyone who wants to make a real impact and differentiate themselves in that management layer, get real work done, and also accelerate your career in the process. So whilst you may have followed conventional wisdom in the management space that has led you to become this traditional manager, quite bluntly, this is a recipe for disaster. This will not accelerate your career and this will not give you the satisfaction that you need in growth and accelerated growth. So founder mode is all about flipping this script, really taking control and getting in the details and owning your work and space and really pushing towards accelerated growth in your career. So if that sounds exciting to you, you want to learn more about founder mode, all of the mindsets and things that you can do in your corporate job to help you become high performing and actually accelerate the work that you do, then this is the video for you. And why should you listen to me talk about founder mode? Well, I'm an engineering and technology leader at one of the world's largest investment banks. I've accelerated my career massively through adopting the mindset and the behaviors and actions of founder mode. And, before it was even labeled this really. So I'd like to really go through in detail and show you what you can do to help you get to the levels of executive management and leadership that I have in a short space of time. So whether you're aiming for a promotion or just wanting to make bigger impact and get visibility in the workplace, working on founder mode mentality and adopting these behaviors will really help you give you an edge. So follow me, I'm Tarek, on this journey where I talk about this and more on my channel, but in this video we're going to get right into this, so stay tuned. And really this notion of founder mode started earlier in 2024 when Brian Chesky, who is the CEO, one of the founders of Airbnb, talked about how the company has shifted effectively back to where it needed to get to for growth. It had become too traditional and had gone down the road of becoming another corporate in sense of the sensibilities, the ways it's structured and the way work gets done. And I think founder mode was Brian Chesky coming out to say that we need to pivot, turn the company back to those sensibilities we had when we were early in the 0 to 1 phase and that initial growth stage. And really those key elements of that mindset in 0 to 1 is really quite a recipe for impact and to do well in a corporate job. It doesn't matter what level of the corporation you're in. I've adopted the 0 to 1 mindset in many levels in the bank, whether I was in early management, senior management, and now in directorship. That sort of level of 0 to 1 mentality where you're really thinking like a founder really helps you to differentiate yourself, but show you as one of the driving forces of taking the company forward and giving you that visibility. So it's very key. And Brian Chesky, and if you can go and watch any of his podcasts or interviews that he's done on YouTube over the last year on this, has really articulated this very nicely and really done a lot of work in terms of thinking at the helicopter sort of view of the company and what has changed and what got them stuck into this traditional manager mode and how he got out of it. And what you can do is adopt these mindsets yourself. In this video, we're going to talk all about founder mode in detail, and taking on this mindset and really transforming your team, if you run a team, is critical to getting this shift in place and showing your corporation where you work a fresh way of working, innovative way of working, where work gets done, and also hopefully then being able to scale that across your organization, giving you the visibility and acceleration you need to progress your career in your corporation you're in now. For me personally, I've worked in investment banking and asset management for over 20 years, currently working at one of the world's largest investment banks, and really adopting this mindset where no one else around me was doing this really differentiated me from the rest of the crowd, helping me to accelerate my career rapidly, but also showing the bank that that you can be innovative and work in this sort of startup style within a larger traditional model, still doing the things that are needed to stay within the corporate structure, but also breathing some fresh life into how work is done. The fundamental shift really is that you need to be firstly involved in the details. Now, as you go up in management and you get from manager, senior manager to director, there is a tendency in traditional management to be very disconnected now, because you pushed all of that delegation of authority down, you've given autonomy down the chain, and it's really now not your problem to get into the details, and all you want to do is see what the results are doing, whether you're heading in the right direction, but you're not in there steering day to day. And that is incorrect. That is where you're losing skills by doing that, by not getting into detail, but then also you're not steering towards the vision that you need to steer towards. And this is where you lack control, because you pushed everything down, but then also you've created extra bureaucracy because you've left those people to run things and to do things the way they want to. And it's natural for people to come in and put process and controls in and create their own sort of mini empire going on underneath you. So really, you've got to cut that out in founder mode. And the way I've done that in my team is we all get together every day for an hour, even if it's a busy, rapid day where we've got lots going on, we always get together. And in that hour, I am talking through the details, exactly what is going on day to day. I want to know what code is being written in my world. Obviously, I'm running a engineering and product team, and it's really about getting into the details of what we are building. Are we still building this for the customer? Are we actually getting into the details of how efficient the code is? Really understanding all of that. I want to know about the tasks. I want to know exactly how it's being approached, and then I need to steer. I need to steer them in the right direction and actually say, no, let's have a debate about why it's being done this way. And really, it's not micromanagement, because micromanagement is really an oppressive and negative way of doing this, but in getting in the details for an hour is giving the person who's doing the work a steer to understand the direction they need to go in, but also giving them the freedom to carry on and create what they need to create, but with me checking in at a regular daily intervals to feel that we're steering the ship together, and that I can then play devil's advocate and understand why certain decisions are made and then work through those. And that presence also affects the team, because you're feeling like you're not disconnected, you're not absent, you're there in the details every day, you're driving this forward. People believe in your vision and they want to then build that vision with you, but then equally they want to fight for their ideas, and they can do that within the remit you're giving them to do that, as long as it's steering towards what you feel is the right way forward. So currently in my structure, I have managers who report to me who also have teams. And in this way of thinking, I am really working with the entire chain. I'm not just looking at my direct reports and getting them to report back to me. I'm working with all of the people within the whole team effectively. And that's exactly what you have to do. The mindset is you do not just communicate with your direct reports. You communicate with everyone who's getting the work done collectively. And you are one big unit. Even if there is an organizational structure in place and it's a hierarchy, you need to dispel this hierarchy. Because in founder mode, it's about getting the work done. It doesn't matter who reports to who. Everyone's on an equal playing field, so to speak, when it comes to the work being done, and you make people accountable who need to be made accountable, and you work on that on a day-to-day basis, really quite rapidly, getting in the details and keeping that pace going very quickly. I find working at this level really good, and I'm glad Brian Chesky talked about this a lot in his podcasts and interviews that he did, because what you're doing is you're giving those individuals who are maybe further down the chain or reporting to managers that report into you, you're giving them the visibility they deserve, you're giving them the recognition they deserve, and they do not feel then disgruntled or resentful because they're talking directly to the ultimately the top of the chain, but they are doing that in a way that is empowering them to carry on doing the work and having the healthy debate they need to have as well. So it's a really great way of dispelling that whole toxic culture you get where they don't want to go above their own manager almost to get recognition. And that also helps combat some of the issues you get with toxic middle management as well. So being in the details and having that line of sight is so important, I think, to creating a healthy atmosphere and giving people the recognition they deserve as well. What's really important to do is in the structure of your team is to create functions rather than these divisional structures. And in founder mode, you've got the mindset where everyone comes together to solve the problem around the product. So it's really product centric. And in my case, I run a team that has product managers, engineering teams, software engineers, I've got designers and content writers. We're all in one umbrella, and they may be split functionally so that they have their own groups, engineering, product design, etc. But when we come together to solve these problems in a streamlined way, collectively. It's not done in a way where some companies are split divisionally, where you end up with sort of mini companies within a structure in each vertical, which then leads to duplication and everyone's doing their own thing. But thinking about that from a company-wide perspective, that is just not constructive for growth. But what you can do in your role is start to create this sort of mini functional structure. If you are in a position like I am, where you're running both product and engineering, etc., then you have that control where you can create sort of a mini founder model, which I have done successfully. But then what you can do if you are not in that position is start to work with engineering leads or people who run the engineering team if you're in product, and vice versa if you're in design. Really start to get these leads together and start thinking about founder mode collectively, build relationships with these leaders and start to work with them in a way that you would work for in the founder mode mentality, where you're trying to solve this problem together. And what you really want to get the outcome of this functional organization is that the product manager, the engineer, the designer, they're all interconnected and they know exactly what is going on. They know the roadmap, they know what's being worked on, why decisions are being made, and it's this extra level of transparency that is really required that helps you develop quickly but also develop the right thing. What I really like about founder mode is this focus on results, and this is so important because quite frankly, when you work in a large investment bank like I do, or I've worked in other large corporates, you get a lot of people who are good at talking the talk and managing up, and what they're effectively doing is just showing senior leaders how good they are or what's been done, but they are not good at driving the results. You're not finding the people who are actually doing the work, who are driving that result. And one of the great things about founder mode, and what I've employed in my own team, is hiring people who get the work done, who are all about driving results. So right from, if it's someone in a product manager role or in a leadership role, they are driving results through engineers or through designers or people who are actually doing the work as well and getting it done. It's all results driven. So working backwards from what the results you're looking for and finding out who are the impactful people who are doing that. You then end up creating a team which is a lot leaner and focused on people who are actively working towards getting the results done. And you avoid this bloat that you get of individuals who are just good at talking the talk and managing up and just showing up in the right places, and they've just mastered that art of effectively doing nothing. And unfortunately, you get a lot of that in large corporates. But what you need to do is focus on creating your own bubble if you are in a management position, where you can show that the recipe for success is this results-driven organization, which is lean, on focus on the people who are getting stuff done. And for me personally, that means I am involved in every hiring decision. I like to be involved in the hiring process because I want to bring people into the team that they may be talking the talk, but I need to see the results. I need to see what they've done previously and how they do drive results, because there's a lot of characteristics there that are important to bringing in people who are, say, very egoless and not really thinking about hierarchy, and who can drive results but also can equally work with other people, drop things when they have to drop things and pivot because the idea may have changed. That sort of sensibility and the mindset's really important in founder mode, and you can only get that by being in the detail of the hiring processes as well. So even if the person being hired into my team is not reporting directly to me, I'm involved in getting to that hiring decision very quickly, but also working to make sure they have the right skills to be brought into the team. In founder mode, you also review work regularly. So you don't just wait till 3 or 4 weeks have gone past and then you see some feature and go, why was this built like this? Why does it look like this? What, you've forgotten X, Y, and Z. In my case, reviewing work daily but also weekly when it comes to show and tells with a team where they show off a feature and then it's tested internally with the entire team being the test bed, it's really critical to making sure that work is done correctly, it's done to the right standard, but also that we've not left things out. We've adjusted for bugs and errors, but also we are on top of making sure that the work is done the right way. And as a leader, I have to be involved in reviewing every detail and not just leaving it up to chance or just waiting for it to hit consumers before I find out what has happened with that feature and whether it was actually done the way I envisaged it to be done. I am also a massive fan of creating less layers. I prefer a team, and this is what I find nicely fits in with the founder model as well. The founder mode model is almost having just a very flat horizontal team, a pool of people who all just share the same vision, who are all infused to do the work and create great products and great experiences for customers. Even if you're working in an internal role where your customers are internal, you want to create this really flat, egoless team of people who are just infused to get stuff done and really create this rocket ship style environment where you're accelerating growth and you're building cool things. And that's effectively what in founder mode and Brian Chesky articulates so well, is eliminating all those levels of middle management and really creating a lean structure. And whilst I do have managers that report to me that have their own teams, I create the environment that is quite flat, in the sense that when we all meet together for that daily call or the daily huddle that we do where we get into details, it's done in a very flat, structured way where it's one-to-one communication with all levels, but also everyone is accountable for what they're doing and is transparent. This also creates more concise communication across the team. So rather than people being left to think, I've got this autonomy in the old sort of management mode way of traditional management, is they're just left to do the work and they've got the autonomy to do it, but they have no idea where they're meant to go, or they've got no clarity on the vision or the goal really, and then that just leads to more confusion and a slower pace. Whereas in this sort of mode of this kind of flat structure where everyone works very tightly together, the communication is very clear. You have the conversations you need to unstick and unpick things and make sure you've got the clarity and the vision you need. That all happens on a daily basis. And this really is dispelling the myth of autonomy. Really, there is no autonomy. You don't want people to be autonomous. You just need to make sure that everyone is working and steering the ship in the right direction. We're all rowing in the right direction and we're getting to where we need to go. And that happens with daily consistency, checking in every day, but also having conversations constantly, working together closely and making sure we're always checking in on what's going on. It's just making sure we're all heading in the same direction with the same purpose, because more often than not, it can veer off and ideas can collect from team members and then suddenly they're veering off and building in a different direction and things get conflated, and that all gets dispelled when you just remove this idea of autonomy and really focus more on this hands-on steering of people effectively. And that's what's great about founder mode, and that's something that I've done naturally in the team that I'm in, and I really think this is what's led to the success that I've had personally in the team that I've got. I've got some great generative AI products that have gone to market, and they are effectively flagship products for the investment bank that I work in. And this has all happened because we've worked in this, I would say, steering and not this autonomous way of working, but really employing a lot of what's happened in the founder mode conversation that Brian Chesky's talked about a lot in 24. Another important feature in the founder mindset is to focus on launches. And this really resonated so much with me because it's exactly how my team operates. We work on a launch basis. So whether we're launching features to an audience or it could be to an internal customers or external customers, but if we're working backwards from a launch, that gives us the incentive first and puts the pressure on us to release in time, but also it's giving us that unified goal to work towards, that we've got this launch coming up, and the launch is effectively a narrative, and everyone buys into that narrative that we've got this story we're going to tell. So we're launching this feature X, and this is the benefit it will give you, the benefit to the customer. Everyone knows what that launch narrative is, and then we're working backwards from that, and that really gives everyone that consistent steer, but also puts the pressure on rapid development to making sure we hit that launch date. And whilst it is intense, and yes, you are working at an intense pressure, it's also really enjoyable because we're all working on a clear vision, a clear direction. We know exactly what this launch will consist of, and we are all working towards that. So whilst it is high pressure and we're delivering fast, it's also quite fun. And this also dispels the myth of continuous shipping. And I think this really helps you get, out of this rut that you get stuck in as a product manager, or just in a cycle of continuously shipping things for the sake of shipping things, and you get stuck in this monotony. What's really great about sticking to launches is you get this real buzz around shipping something great for the customer with this narrative, and then you go back after that to a bit of downtime where you can focus on what the next launch is. And this whole mindset is just really shifting the way work is done, so everyone is infused to work towards this great launch that they'll get recognition for, and stop this mundane cycle of continuous releases. Another thing that I'm a big advocate for in my team, and something that I literally live by, is this bias for action that you find in founder mode. The bias for action is all about just forgetting about the consensus-driven approach. I do not want to have endless meetings. That 1 hour that I have with the entire team, where we all get together, and with my managing director as well, it really helps us to just get all the information we need to out into the team, have the conversations that we need to have, and then leave everyone to get on with their day-to-day. And if there are meetings that my managers, product managers or engineers or design people are getting pulled into, I want to know about that, because my role is to stop them going to meetings that are just not worth them attending. And quite frankly, you have to really be quite robust around this and say, is it worth attending this meeting? Is it something that I could just answer a question via email or chat? I don't need to be in this meeting. What am I achieving out of this? My role, I really try and protect the team from being sucked into these endless corporate meetings that happen outside of my team, and really focus on getting lean and getting really involved on what they need to get done. And if it's a decision that someone else is looking for, then I help to drive that decision on their behalf, but they shouldn't be stuck in hours of consensus-driven decision making. It's not how the team should operate, but it's not how they should operate even outside with external teams. It's all about being fast and being fast-paced, and by showing other teams external to yours that you aren't prepared to sit in a 45 or a 1 hour meeting just to get to one decision, you're really also setting the standard for the relationship you want to have with them, but also the standard for what you're driving in your team, which is fast decision making. And what's great about founder mode, and something that I love about the culture that's been cultivated in my team, it's all around continuous learning. And continuous learning means that I'm on a journey to learn, so are the engineer and product managers in my team and design folk. We're all on a continuous journey of learning, and we all want to understand and gain better understanding. And that's something you can't delegate. You can't delegate understanding down to people. You have to work together. You need to experiment together. You need to learn, and maybe I need to be proven wrong sometimes, or I need to learn from others. But this whole journey around learning and continuous learning only happens as we share the knowledge and we share our experiences, and I learn from other people. And that's what's great, because we have this culture where it doesn't matter how senior you are in the team, we all learn from each other, and we learn to come to a common understanding, but we also learn for our own benefit of growth as well. So in my case, it's learning this entire new field of generative AI, which we didn't know a year ago, but now we are almost building generative AI products from scratch here that are going out internally to customers, but also hopefully soon externally. And these are really tools that we had zero knowledge on, but we learned as a collective. We had continuous learning mindset where we were able to help each other's understanding grow. And whilst it's been really great because it empowers everyone to feel like, you know, they're all working towards and learning towards this goal. It's also helped me to drive and grow as well as a leader. So in summary, Founder Mode is all about being really hands-on, understanding the details, being stuck in there, but also challenging traditional management norms. You're really focused on high levels of engagement, constantly present with your team, and really focus on the product, what problem the product is solving and how the customer is going to feel. It also emphasizes a unified vision, a clear direction where you all can work towards that very quickly with an agile approach, but also what you're doing is making sure everyone's working fast but working towards the right direction. And I really thank Brian Chesky for articulating it so well numerously over the course of 2024 in various forums and speeches and podcasts that he has done. And it's something that I want to make sure that you've watched this video, you've got to the end, but you're really focused on that you don't have to be a founder to do this. I am not a founder, you know, I'm basically working in a corporate environment in an investment bank, but I've adopted this mindset, and that is what's driven me to accelerated career growth and got me to where I am now quite early on in my career. I've still got a long way to go, but I'm at an executive director level working in a large corporate, and I'm not a founder, but this mindset is so critical to large corporates, and it's what's needed and what they're craving for, really. So if you can bring this mindset into a large corporate, whether you're in an investment bank like myself or in any large corporate, this is really going to set you apart from others. And if you're able to help drive that change, then you're on your way to success in your career. And my channel is all about driving this mindset, but also being on this growth journey. I've got lots of content that will help you drive yourself towards this, but also help you level up and gain that recognition that you deserve and the visibility also. So stick around and watch more videos from my channel. If you like this or you've got any questions, do comment below. Happy to talk more about Founder Mode and how you can accelerate your career.